This is the episode where we ask, is SEO dead for photographers? We're challenging everything you thought you knew about website traffic, talking about the shift to zero-click marketing, and how your positioning is now the only way to beat AI and win premium clients.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with actionable strategies to grow your business.
Hello, Marcus. How are you doing?
I am terrific. I was going to say too good then, but that's not right, is it? I'm brilliant. Thanks, Sam.
Excellent. Very good. Good to hear, Marcus. And we have a guest again this week, which is excellent. So this week we have with us Alex Vita, who is a web designer for photographers. Hi, Alex.
Hi. Great to be here. Nice to meet you both.
Hi, Alex.
Yeah, great to meet you. Alex is going to share with us 3 things that we're going to learn for navigating this new online landscape. First, we'll learn the reality of zero-click marketing and the single, more important metric you should focus on instead of simple SEO traffic. Second, you'll discover the most crucial concept for the new SEO success and how to build the online authority you need for Google Search. And finally, we dive into the secret of positioning and why being clear about who you serve is the only way to attract premium clients and justify your fees. Do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners?
So I build websites for photographers for a living. I've been doing that for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
I write educational articles on that topic, services, bespoke websites, marketing, consulting, all of that, basically.
Amazing.
Oh, that's excellent.
So a lot of experience. How do you stand out when there's a lot of other people doing the same thing? Or how do So yeah, do you want to kind of start us off on that topic, Alex, a little bit about positioning and how photographers can deal with that?
Yeah, and I think that's key because everyone wants to get more results from their website, from their business. The ultimate goal, right? To get more inquiries, more sales. And as opposed to the usual obsession, which is more traffic, more number one on Google, that sort of stuff, which is, it's a vanity metric and it's going down for all photographers these days with AI. We're kind of in this zero-click marketing era. ChatGPT doesn't send too many clicks back to the websites. Social media websites surely don't do that. They want to keep you locked in. So traffic is not the measure, but results, sales, inquiries, leads, all of that. And I can talk 10 hours about website mistakes, performance, copywriting, design, but usually the main problem is how photographers position themselves, how they present their services, what they're offering. That's the key that many photographers miss, I think. And it's this under the umbrella of positioning is what allows you to justify premium fees as a photographer, to get better clients, to get more expertise.
Alex?
Yeah.
So I really want to go into that. I just want to clarify something you said earlier, just so it's really clear to listeners. So you talked about a no-click series. Can you just kind of explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, that was interesting to me as well, yes.
Well, SEO as like a marketing source is changing because of AI recently. That's what I've seen. And I manage websites for photographers, and I look into Google Analytics reports and Google Search Console stuff as well. And traffic is slowly going down for many photographers. That's because I use ChatGPT all the time instead of going to Google. I use Google like 10% of the time that I used before.
Wow.
And ChatGPT can surface a photographer if a client is actually looking. And I've heard a lot of stories of clients who plan their wedding using ChatGPT or try to look up a headshot photographer using ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is not giving you the link directly, hey, visit this website. No, it's mentioning the photographer by name. Same with social media profiles. Everyone knows how algorithms change and want to keep you locked in on their platform. They don't link out to the website. So that's it's a term I heard from Rand Fishkin, this SEO expert. He calls it zero click marketing these days. So
so when people do a search on AI, your name might appear, but they can't just, like in an old Google search, they'd click. They can't click. They've then got to go away and maybe do a separate search for your name and find you. So effectively, although they've found you in AI, you're not getting that click that you can track back. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So you're not seeing traffic, pure raw traffic in Google Analytics. You're not. That's affected these days. It's going down. What matters is actually getting the inquiry, the contact message, the phone call from the client.
I mean, that's a fundamental change that's happened in the last couple of years, isn't it, Alex? A fundamental change. We always were told to chase SEO, get number one on Google, all that kind of thing. And now you're saying that is no longer relevant.
It's changing, meaning the criteria for how AI chatbots surface you, they don't show you. They surface you in its comments, basically, is still reliant on some of SEO. It's still reliant on your Google rankings, but only to a certain extent. It's no longer the same. So the old SEO, keywords everywhere, heading tags, alt tags, SEO meta descriptions, all of that. That was a way to game the system before, to improve your rankings on Google. That's not enough anymore.
Right.
That's not enough. So what matters now for AI rankings, let's call it, it's not a technical term, is to be seen as an expert. It's a concept called, if someone wants to look it up, it's a concept called EEAT, which is you're seen as an expert, as an entity that's an experienced service provider. So AI needs to have a good understanding of you as the photographer from multiple sources, not just the website, but any other profile you have online, social media profiles, directories of photographers everywhere, all of it with consistent information of you as an expert service provider, as the photographer. It's a difficult beast to tackle, basically, but it is changing. Yeah.
But in some ways, a lot of that was the same for Google, wasn't it? So they were getting a different end result, is that you were appearing in the AI, aiming for the AI, maybe not Google so much. Still with the Google, it was still looking, wasn't it, at where are you on your Google Maps, where are you in LinkedIn, where are you on business directories, and finding you around the web and bringing that together. So is it a massive change, or is it just kind of a change of focus, do you think?
It's a change in factors. I'd say Google was looking a lot in terms of content on the website, and keywords and all of that, whereas now it's more semantics, what you write about yourself. So stuff like having a good solid FAQ section on the website that pre-answers questions, that shows that you're an expert, that you know what you do. It's that sort of stuff. It's not a major change, but it is different. You're no longer gaming the system with tags everywhere and keywords, but more stories, more case studies on the website, how you're an expert, that sort of stuff. It's a different shift in focus. Yeah,
and we're waiting towards that content, which was always important, but like the weighting is shifting almost.
Correct. More focused on your service offering and not quantity and tags and all of that. I see that as a shift, and I've worked with photographers implementing that. They used to have like focus on blogging and to get a lot of content in for Google, but now they're like adding case studies from clients, successful clients, to the website, FAQ section, tweaking the stories on the website. And they have clients coming in from ChatGPT explicitly saying that. So it kind of works, but it's,
So, okay, this is all fantastic stuff, but I'd like to just go back to the original question that Sam was asking, and I'm a little bit unclear. just talk to me about positioning, what we need to do.
Okay, so positioning is this big term about how a photographer, who the photographer works with in a nutshell. And I need to clarify the difference between niching down, and specializing, because many photographers mix those up. What I think of niching is targeting a super specific audience versus serving anyone as an access, right? Like the market vertical, you would call it. Whereas specializing is offering a specific service or doing full service, all types of photography. And if you combine these two, niching and positioning, you get kind of this axis, whatever you want to call it. And that's how you define your business as a photographer. Without that, you don't know who your target audience is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how to do copywriting well on the website. You don't know how to do marketing beyond that. So all the dominoes.
So just to kind of make it clear, so for example, so like a headshot photographer is a specialized photographer, and an acting headshot photographer is a niche specialized photographer. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
Oh, cool.
It does both. You got it right. Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Just
So
clarify that one.
Then, of course, the common concern here is when you niche down or when you specialize, your target audience becomes smaller. Smaller is usually better for positioning instead of being a beginner generalist, but not too small. You still need kind of a viable audience, of course. So you need to strike that balance. But it's something that photographers don't do too much on their website. They either combine multiple specialties. They have this portfolio. They shoot architecture and weddings and family portraits and food photography. It's like no man's land. You don't intuitively trust them if they do too much.
I still see that being done, though, Alex. I do still see websites where they do weddings, commercial, boudoir, whatever. I wonder why this message is not getting across. Or are we missing something? Are we missing something here?
It's because they do all those services. They put food on the table, but it's simply easier to manage a single website.
Right. Okay, that's it.
The decision whether to break it off into two separate websites comes down to the overlap of audiences. If like you could have I don't know, personal branding and like corporate headshots and maybe team portraits, conference headshots on the same website. They have a similar type of audience. Same with wedding photographers and family photo shoots and baptisms. But if you combine weddings and architecture, they don't gel together. You're diluting your audience. So if there's enough overlap, you keep them on the same website. It's easier to manage, of course.
And then for a lot of photographers, what we've talked about niching a lot, and a lot of photographers, it is scary, isn't it, making that jump, because you go, but I can only make enough money having all these things, and they're just really worried about going, right, I'm going to say I'm only doing architecture, photography, nothing else, and there's a lot of worry, isn't there, a lot of fear of making that jump of specializing and niching.
Correct. I get that. They're worried simply what I said. Too small of a market, I'll get fewer leads, fewer clients, fewer food on the table. It is a leap of faith. You can break it off into a separate landing page if you're really scared about that. Try to promote it as a separate side business. But once it works, you reap the benefits of that because you learn the nuances of that field, of that niche. You provide better services. You get seen as more of an expert in that niche. You get the likelihood of referrals, of word of mouth referrals, raises a lot. So, what's the alternative these days? Becoming this generalist. Everyone, yeah.
Yes, it is. It is becoming a generalist, isn't it? And look, I am totally niche down, Alex. You know, I do one thing, and I teach people how to do it, and I do it myself. I do branding photography.
Yeah.
But I did see a comment the other day, and the people were saying, well, these days it's no longer right to be a specialist. You have to be a generalist. Look, okay, it's another argument, and I think they're wrong. So I agree with you, Alex. It's simple as that.
But Marcus, are you niche? Because what you've just described is you're specialized. Have you got a niche within the branding sphere?
Well, I work with coaches and motivational speakers.
Okay, so yes.
Okay, yeah.
It's
a bit of both. Yeah.
So we're kind of saying you've got to make that, and with so many shows we've gone, you've got to make that jump to being specialized. So you've got to get over the fear of that, listen to some of the shows on that. So once you've made that jump, you're going specialized. Once we're starting to build a website, what are those common mistakes that lots of photographers make that you see that you just think if you could just change that, this website would improve, it would get more conversions, you'd actually get more leads, more clients?
Yeah. So to a good website usually, it does many things, but mistakes I usually put into two categories. One, poor content, and two, poor user experience on the website. By poor content, I mean, obviously image quality is bad. Assuming that's out of the way, that's the staple, right? But it's also, poor content can mean missing contact information. You need to hunt it down, or too many images, right? The selection is poor, or too few images, or broken links, functionality, distracting backgrounds. The content is poor. Or poor user experience, which is creating confusion on the website in any way. The navigation menu is weird. You kind of have to be a detective to find the right pages.
Photographers seem to be stunningly bad at that navigation menu that people have grown over time with 14 things across the top and thinking, oh my God, where do we even start?
Yeah. And they're not called about or content. There's something clever, very creative.
Quirky. Yes. Yeah. That nobody actually understands.
Yeah, exactly. On the web, you need familiarity, words that are straightforward that people understand. So one thing is creating confusion, that sort of stuff. The other is control. You're taking control away from people. That's through splash pages. They still happen. You land on the photographer website, it's just a single photo with a welcome button. Like I'm mad when I see that.
Yep.
Or annoying pop-ups, or the classic homepage slideshows.
Pop-ups, Alex. Pop-ups. Let's just talk about pop-ups.
Sure.
Mad. I mean, and it's not just photographers. I'm going to stand up right here. So many websites have pop-ups that just come up, and it's just so annoying.
Yeah, I know they're effective. Anyone who runs a newsletter knows that they work, but you don't know at what cost and how many people you're annoying out of it. There are ways to make them more discreet, like an inline subscribe box or an exit intent pop-up, or with a delay. Yeah. There are options, but cool. Yeah, it is what it is.
I guess the other thing is, what is the priority of your site, isn't it? If the priority of your site is just to grow your newsletter, then it might be thoroughly appropriate. But if it's to kind of gradually nudge people to a very expensive photo shoot, you don't want to annoy them by a pop-up getting in the way.
Correct, but it's ultimately all roads lead to income and sales, and it's whether you want to be overly aggressive with that or you're more elegant. I can never forget a quote from Seth Godin, of all people, who said, if you A/B test a website long enough, you end up with a porn site. That's exactly it.
That is a quote of the year, mate. Is that what Seth Godin said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. That is so true. And we all want a porn website, don't we? Because we get lots of people coming to our sites.
Correct. A lot of traffic, a lot of engagement on the website, but not. Yeah.
So you also talked about earlier too many photos, too few photos. So what's your kind of thought on that ratio between, because obviously that's quite confusing for people. What's your thought on that ratio between like written content and images, and how you get that balance right? Because it is tempting as a photographer to photograph. and push the content back.
Yeah, correct. And I also know it's hard for photographers to make the photo selections. They're too close to them, emotionally attached to them sometimes.
But that's part of the job. No, that's part of the job. You've got to be able to edit your work. You've got to be able to say what isn't working and what is working.
Correct, but not all photographers do that if they're not experienced enough. So it depends on the type of website. But for portfolio website, where the goal is just to showcase your best work and get clients that way, usually you need simple portfolio galleries, like 20, 30 images max. I never see a need to go beyond that on a service specific portfolio page. You might have 2 or 3 if you're selling multiple services, but that's enough. If you can't convince people in 20 images, your best ones, you won't do it in 100 images. And the common mistakes here are the same shot, one in color, one in black and white on the same website, or same subject, multiple angles. You couldn't make a decision as a photographer. Why should I trust you?
Exactly. No, exactly. That's a really, I think there's a slight hang up from years ago when photographers were repped by, well, still are repped by agents, and they don't have to have any words on their website because somebody else is doing all the work for them. And photographers think, oh, that's what I need to do, but you don't. That's a completely different scenario, having an agent out there working for you.
Yeah, and that's rare. Usually photographers,
very rare.
Yeah, that's rare. And of course, there are exceptions to what I said. Anyone selling licenses, rights managed, royalty free, or selling prints, that depends. Obviously, you can have a vaster archive of prints or stock photography, not to mention that. Yeah.
In fact, I'm just about to put a gallery on my website, actually, to start selling prints. I just looked and I thought, I've got so much nice work I never show to anybody. That'd be a good place to put it, and maybe try and make a bit of coin on it as well, So easily done.
Yeah.
But then, Marcus, if you looked at the audience on your website, and if because you're a brand photographer, are they shots that brand photographers are going to buy because they're your audience on your website?
It's true, very true. But it's just when I'm out and about and people are saying, "Oh, can I see your work?" and it's not in a commercial setting, I just thought it'd be somewhere I could send to them. But you make a good point, Sam. Yeah, it's all diluting. Let's talk about diluting, actually. And this is all great that we can do all these kind of things. But obviously, as a photographer, we're limited for time. Where do you think, Alex, we should be putting our energy as a photographer who wants to create income?
Oh, that's the money question. That's
the money question. That's the porn. We're back on the porn site again, aren't we?
Let me rephrase it. How do you make more money from photography? That's the question.
Yeah.
Well, through all of it, through positioning,
yes,
through setting up a good online presence so you appear professional, through all the marketing channels that are right for you as the photographer. Organic traffic, that's in shift, as we spoke about in the beginning, through Google and AI. Paid traffic works for some people, money burning scheme for other people. Word of mouth, referrals, that's still a strong avenue for many other photographers. And then you also have social media with its big flaws and Gary V style posting that you need to do these days, which is awful.
What's that mean? Sorry, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's social media algorithms. Like you can't just do the usual post once a day. You kind of have to keep up a cadence and post often, and hashtags and all. It's not for everyone. I've heard from many photographers say they're sick of social media. If they could make it go away, they would. It's not for everyone. It's quantity and poor quality. Video is everywhere now, right? Shorts, reels, all of that. It's not for everyone. You have to develop a muscle to do it. So, yeah.
Cool. So it's kind of the summary of your answer. Think basically about what you're doing. Look at all those options, but don't just dive into every single one of them. Actually think and make a plan and do it deliberately.
Correct. And you don't have to follow all the recipes you find online. It's not for everyone, but you have to explore, you have to experiment, you have to dive into AI a bit, even if you're non-technical and have not used ChatGPT a lot. Ask, just to go down this rabbit hole a tiny bit, ask ChatGPT what it knows about you as a photographer. What do you know about me? And see what it answers, and see one, where's that incomplete, what it got wrong of you, and then how to right that wrong, right? What can you put on the website and in any other profiles to fix that information about you?
That's great.
Yeah.
I was always, there was a slight lead in what I was saying, Alex, because the lead in would have been, you can go to your website and you've got lots and lots of really excellent articles and downloads and blogs that I have to say are of a very high quality and very informative.
Yeah, and I also have...
There we go. And we are coming to the end. So yeah, Alex, if people want to contact you, if people want to find that stuff, where do they go?
Well, they need to check out the pop-up on my website. No. Well, my website is foregroundweb.com. I have like 200 long form articles. Like we spoke about positioning. I have a 10,000 word articles. I hand wrote it before AI, and it has everything. Courses, newsletter, all of that, all about photography websites. That's all there.
Well, that was a fantastic show, Alex. And it's clear that the rules of the game are changing. So just to recap, here are the 3 things that we learned today. Firstly, we saw why the old goal of getting #1 on Google is giving way to zero-click marketing. And this is the key metric you should now be tracking instead of website clicks. Second, we learnt the crucial new concept for SEO and how to build the online authority that satisfies both AI and potential clients. And finally, you heard why positioning is key. Stop being a generalist, define your niche, and watch your business and fees grow.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity. Amazing. That is incredibly helpful. Thank you for providing so much value for the listeners. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's not often I'll say this because Sam knows how much I dislike marketing and all that kind of stuff and techie stuff, but I really, really enjoyed that show. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here with you.
Cool. And Marcus, I will see you next week.
See you next week, Sam.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to the website commercial-photographer-podcast.com and sign up to the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.